And just like this week, I came home one night, got a shower from work, and my husband called and said, what are we having for supper? And I said, well, I just opened the refrigerator door and I didn't lay anything out. We don't have anything. We have sandwiches, and him and Henry had already ate sandwiches for lunch the other day, and I had a cold sandwich too. We didn't want sandwiches, so we ended up going out to eat. $80. Well, I don't know about your budget right now, but my budget doesn't really have $80 worth to be going out to eat. So I've got to get in gear and start getting some more meals planned ahead. Now, I mean, it's going to happen. We're not perfect. We're humans. We've got a lot to do. But you know what? I'm going to try and attempt to do the best I can. That's the reason why I thought it would be a great time to showcase how I do the deep dish pizzas, and then how I do a thin crust, and I'm going to freeze a few extra of the thin crust. I don't know about the deep dish. I am going to try to freeze it, and I'll let you know when I go to cook it. But right here's the bacon. Have you ever thought about making your own pan pizza? If so, this is going to be the video for you. You're going to want to stick around. We're first going to whip up some homemade garlic and herb butter. This is a thick crust. You know, you have that crunch on the bottom, and this is going to help us make the crust our own. I like garlic and herb butter better than I like just using. I like to use it more than just using olive oil or anything like that for my homemade pizzas. This recipe is really good for you to do the night before, so that you can come home. Takes you about 30 minutes to put everything together or less, and you can have your own homemade pizza. The dough that I'm going to show you to make can be in the refrigerator up to 48 hours, so you could make this a few days in advance. What we're doing here is we're adding some garlic, butter, and pepper. I will also include all of these recipes in the description below, and then if you would like to have the recipes where you can print them on pretty little note cards, I will have those also for you. If you go to our website, and the link will be in the description, and you sign up for our monthly newsletter, then you will receive it. I'm going to add in some parsley. I like parsley, so I may have added a little more than what most people like. Where is my, oh, it's over here. I never seem to find what I need. I have my recipe wrote down here because I don't make it all the time, so I sometimes kind of forget a little bit. I'm going to put some oregano in here, and I usually do about a teaspoon, but I've got 2 things of butter, so I'm going to add a little extra. You can add exactly what I have listed here. You could add a little less, a little more. Make this your own. And then we've got some basil here. I'm going to do about the same. And then we've got Redmond salt. About a teaspoon or so. I'm going to get the hand mixer out, and we're going to mix this up. So just like everybody else, it seems like when one appliance goes down, multiple goes down. That's what's happened to me. So we're in the process of getting 2 KitchenAid mixers fixed. There's never plug-ins exactly where you need them. So I went over there and I mixed it up. And I'm just going to kind of go ahead and work it with this paddle spatula here. And this is how it looks. And before we use it for our pizza, we'll melt it down a little bit. We're just going to set this to the side. Okay, this is going to be our overnight dough, or you can leave it into the refrigerator up to 48 hours. If you want to cook the day of, leave this out on a warm place, like on the top of your oven or in a warm area on top of your countertop for up to 5 hours before you go to make the pizza. So I'm going to double this recipe, but I'm going to include in the description just the recipe for one dough. But the first thing we want to do is kind of fluff up our flour here. Just overfill it. Scrape it off. So I'm using a high gluten flour here. That's 3 of them. Don't forget to kind of clean up as you go. Now, we're going to go ahead I need 1 cup of warm water. Again, just remember you want your water just like you're going to give a baby a bath. So as long as it touches your forearm here and it feels like, you know, it's not too hot or too cold like you could give a baby a bath, that's where you're aiming. So I need 2 teaspoons of honey, give or take there. This is local honey that I buy from the bulk store, the Amish Mennonite bulk store. So you can get it at a really good value. Get our yeast in. Two and a quarter teaspoons of yeast. Again, I'm doubling the recipe, so I'm putting more in. Then just want to kind of give this a little bit of a stir here. And we'll just let that sit. This is a really good dough to go ahead. Like I said, you want homemade pizza, but you don't want to come in and have to make everything up. I mean, this is just great because then you can just come home, you have everything prepped and ready. I tell you, I make a mess anymore. It just goes everywhere. I move my stuff out of the way when I get the ingredients in because if it was up to me, I'd probably add more just because I forget everything anymore. So we have our high gluten bread flour in, 2 and a quarter teaspoons of yeast. We have a cup of warm water, 2 teaspoons of local honey, and 1 teaspoon of Redmond salt. And we've got our homemade garlic butter. Okay, so we're just going to let this bloom a little bit, and then we're going to get to pouring it in. Okay, while we're giving that a few more minutes to set and bloom there, I'm going to go ahead and get our bowl ready. So this is that garlic herb butter that we made together. I'm going to dump it in here. And instead of using olive oil or just an oil, I'm using the garlic herb butter because it's going to give your crust more flavor. And this right now is just going to help the dough not stick to the bowl. It's just going to help it not stick to the bowl. And it's just going to make it, like I said, we're just adding more flavor. So you just go ahead and you just kind of smear it around here to get all the areas. It smells delicious. It smells really good. I love garlic and herb butter. And last year when I raised my own garlic, I learned that there really is a difference in fresh garlic and in like a minced garlic or something that you pick up at the store. The flavor is just so much better. But, you know, I didn't get to put up my minced garlic last year, and you know what? That's okay. So this is ready to go. You can see that it is going here. So we know that it's active. It's not dead. Good and bubbly. So let's go ahead and pour it in. And if you wanted to in this recipe, you could use brown sugar or white sugar if you don't have honey. It's no big deal. We're going to go ahead and pop this on the mixer. And I'm using a dough hook. Like I said, I've got 2 mixers that's broken. So this is the only one left. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So we're going to start low and we're going to let it just incorporate. And then we'll come back and turn it to medium. And we'll just let it knead until it's pulling away from the bowl. And then we'll let it knead for about 2 to 5 more minutes. And all we are looking for is that it's still kind of tacky, but it's not going to stick to our fingers. This is what we call the shaggy stage, so we're going to let it keep mixing here. I'm going to turn it up just a little. I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. So our dough has mixed. And like I said, it's sticky, but it's not sticking to my fingers. So I'm gonna put it in here and just kind of roll it around in that garlic herb butter. And then we're gonna wrap it and put it in a warm spot. The thing of it is, the longer that this dough rises, the more flavor it's going to give you. So this dough here is not really a quick dough, but it's your friend to prepare a couple days ahead. A sheet pan here, and I've got one of my bacon sheets. I've got some bacon in the refrigerator that needs to be used up. So I'm going to put bacon on these pizzas. Again, I'm not making these pizzas until later on in the week, a few days from now. And I want to try to have everything prepared as much as possible. I like to do a lot of preparing on Sundays. I don't always get it done. I'm gonna put it in the oven at 350. Okay, we're gonna pop this in a 425 degree oven, not 350. I don't know what I was thinking. 425 degrees, and it usually takes 10 to 15 minutes for me. I don't like my bacon extra crispy, so I kind of watch it there. Okay, now we're gonna bring out the cast iron skillet. Now, the guys like a meat lover's pizza with banana peppers, and I love to use like colorful bell peppers, not just green. So what I'm going to cook up here is I'm going to go ahead and cook up a pound of hamburger meat and a pound of sausage. Remember, buy local when you can. Otherwise, just try to find what's affordable. But we had a hog killed not too long ago. One of the family members did, so they gave us some, and we've been using it. And anyways, I'm going to get the cast iron heating up here, and I'm just going to cook the hamburger and the sausage together. It doesn't matter with this recipe. And my sausage is still a little frozen, so I'm going to put it in first, kind of get it chopped up, and then I'm going to add my hamburger in. But that way I'm just dirtying up one pan. We're also going to make our deep dish pizza in the cast iron. So, I really like my cast iron here. Let me get the lid. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of smush it up here. And I'm going to wash my hands. Touching raw meat, you want to ensure that you're washing your hands. We'll just put the lid back on and we'll let that cook. And guys, making homemade pizza isn't hard. It's just a little time consuming. So that way, if we can get some things done the night or a few days before, even better. And, you know, it's really good at like this time. It's really good to go ahead and make up some extra and to put it in the freezer. Because we all know we have a lot of things to do. We're busy. So it makes the most sense when you're already in it, doing it, you might as well make some extra. Anything that you can get diced up and ready is going to be best. Like I said, you know, you want to go ahead and get these ready to go. And some of these peppers are a little past their prime. But we're gonna go ahead and chop them all up because I have some different dishes that if I have enough time this afternoon, I'm gonna showcase those. I also have a way I wanna show you how to store peppers in your refrigerator for up to a week or more without them becoming slimy. I'm gonna go ahead and give the peppers a good rinse.
I think yellow bell peppers might be my favorite. I love the way they look. Yellow and orange might be my favorite bell peppers. Do you like bell peppers? Do you use bell peppers on your pizza?
Okay, and I just like to chop up these peppers. I think I've grabbed the only knife, and I think this is the knife that I about cut my finger off with. They're so flimsy. Let's try this one. Yes. You want a good sharp knife. I've learned the hard way a few times. And I am in the market looking for knives. If anybody has any suggestions, please put it in the comments. I'm just having trouble finding a good quality knife that I feel like is worth the investment. So I'd like to know what others are using. I'll take this out to the compost pile. That is our bacon, so I better check on it. I better go ahead and chop some of these up before I get too many on my board. If you watch our videos often, then you know that last year we grew a very large market garden and we put up, oh my gosh, gallons and quarts of colorful bell peppers. But we have already ran out of those. So I purchased these from Aldi. And, you know, and I really enjoy, I don't know if you have an Aldi close to you. But you can really get some great produce at Aldi, and very worth the money. I really like it. So, you know, one thing that you can do, another thing to save you time, and I do this often, is I will take peppers and onions that you can get on sale, and I will chop them and put them in the freezer. We go through a lot of bell peppers, so that is a time savings, money savings all the way around. So, you know, but if you grow your own, go ahead and put them up. If not, maybe go to the farmer's market this year when peppers are in season and see if you can buy some seconds from them, like a bushel of them, and then you can put them up. It's an affordable way where you're not buying, you know, number ones, but and maybe you want to buy number ones. Go for it. Or like I said, just the best bargain you can. Try to not cut your finger off like me. I hope these recipes are helping you with your family. I hope they're helping you, you know, think of something new to make for your family, or just a different recipe in general.
So now I've got the ground beef and the sausage in here, and I'm just going to take my meat chopper and I'm just going to chop it up because I want small pieces. And this is going to be for the meat lovers pizza. Now it will be a thin crust. So like I said earlier, you can store peppers chopped up for about a week and sometimes more in jars. First thing you want to do is you want to get as much water off the peppers as you possibly can. And one way of doing that is sticking, I ended up having a seed in there, is sticking a paper towel down in there and just put your peppers Now you don't want to smash it too much because they need some airflow. But once that paper towel comes out, so we'll just let them sit there for a few seconds and let that moisture, and then we'll dump it in another jar and I'll show you how to put the lid on. You can use whatever ham your family likes. This is a Virginia brand ham, but like I said, use whatever your family likes. If you like smaller chunks, go with that. If you like larger chunks, go with that. Go ahead and get our bacon here. And I did have some bacon that was already cooked and chopped up in the fridge, so I'm also going to use it. And I think I'm going to chop this not really fine. And if I have some left over, I have an idea for a different recipe for this bacon and ham. So I have some green onions in the refrigerator. We had a baked potato bar earlier this week, and I'm going to use them for what we call the Supreme Meat Lovers Pizza. Or I just made that name up. That's what I'm going to call it though. You ever cut up a green onion? You always want to cut the ends off. And I cut some of the tips off because they were getting just a little slimy. And, you know, they're just not good. So I'm going to just chop these up here. Like I said, use what you have in your refrigerator. With these prices right now in the grocery store, we sure can't waste anything. I think this is the last thing we have to chop up. Now I probably won't put those green onions on my pizzas that I'm going to freeze because I don't really know how well they would work out. They may do fine, but so let's go ahead and get the ground beef and sausage mixture into here. And I just put a paper towel on the bottom. It's very lean. Probably wouldn't even need it, but I'd rather go ahead and soak up any of that grease. And again, like I said, you can do this, you know, 3 or 4 days. Just remember that your dough is up to 48 hours in the fridge. And then you need to bring it out for at least about an hour to let it come to room temperature and do a little bit of rising before you patty it out in your pan to make your pizza. This is the pan that we're going to use for our deep dish pizza this evening. So I just wiped it out there to get it ready. So next we're going to go ahead and work on and get our thin crust dough going because it's a quick rise. So what makes the difference in it is, well, I'm using an instant quick bread yeast, and that's going to move it along faster, and it won't be as flavorful as the one that you do for 48 hours or even the one that's been setting for about 5 hours, but it's still really good. And we're going to go ahead and add our garlic and herb butter, which is going to give some more flavor too. It just depends on what you really like. Okay, I think our peppers have set there. Now you could put another dry piece of paper towel on the bottom, but I just don't see that it's being necessary. So you just want to work them down in there. Could get you a fork, but they should all come out. Yeah. And then we'll just you can get these lids at Walmart or Amazon, and you just screw it on the top and put your peppers in the refrigerator. Be good for up to a week or more. The same recipe as we used before. The only difference with this recipe is that we're using the instant bread quick yeast in this. So we're going to go ahead and get some water. And you don't have to let this bloom, but I usually do just to make sure that the yeast is good and kind of give it a little kickstart. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start with our warm water. 2 teaspoons of honey. And then our bread machine instant yeast rapid rise. And if I recall, that's 2 teaspoons, 2 1/4 teaspoons. One tip that I just now thought about is that I store my yeast in the freezer, and it just helps it last longer. So we're gonna go ahead and pour some of our garlic and herb butter in our bowl. And let it come up on the side so that the dough does not stick. Okay, we've got a good froth here and some bubbles going, so we know our yeast is okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get our mixer set up here. Make sure it's on. Pour it in and set it to low and let it stir. So I'm going to use my homemade pizza sauce that I made this year, or I actually made last year from our homegrown tomatoes, but since I preserved it here at home, I cannot add cornstarch or flour to it, and it's a thickening agent. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open this up and start simmering it and getting ready to build our pizzas. Another reason why you want your sauce not to be, not have too much liquid in it, is because you don't want your crust to be soggy. So this sauce is not only made with our tomatoes, but it's got our onions, our herbs, and our garlic. So I was really proud of it. The next time I make my homemade pizza sauce and spaghetti sauce, I'll be sure to video it. And now we have our quick rise dough that's just going to be put back here on the oven that's preheating. Okay, so our dough has been rising and it looks really good. So we have both of our cast iron skillets here already ready. Oh my goodness, that feels wonderful. Need smell-o-vision. Smells awesome. And this is going to be, like I said, this is our deep dish. So I'll start working it out here, just kind of with my fingertips. Yeah, it's got a really good stretch to it too, which is really good. Just kind of pushing, again, just with my fingertips, going to come up on the sides a little bit here. Now, one thing you want to do for the one that you're going to freeze is that you do want to put it in the oven for a little bit, because you want to cook the crust a little bit, because once it's frozen, as you put it in the oven and it starts thawing, if that dough's not done a little bit, it's going to have a harder time getting done before the topping is done. This looks pretty good. Doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Looks good. Let's do the second one. could kind of work your dough a little more and get it all together and nice and round before you start smushing it out, but it doesn't really matter. This is how some of those places that have that real thick, crunchy crust, you know, the red top with the, used to be the white and red checkers, tablecloths and the red cups and the pans that came out nice and hot. This right here is the same technique. Now, I like my dough to be done, so I'm going to stick both of these in the oven for about 5 to 6 minutes to just get that dough started cooking, and then we'll bring them back out and we're going to put the sauce on them. Have the oven preheated to 400 degrees because this is a thick crust. The thin crust we will set differently. So let's set the timer. Let's go with 5 minutes. So our pizza sauce spent about 10-15 minutes here. It could have went a little longer, but it's okay. I don't mind it one bit. It is a lot thicker than it was. See? Very good. And the reason why so the sauce has gotten a lot thicker, and the reason why I let it simmer for 10 to 15 minutes is because I didn't want to add cornstarch or flour and have any of that taste to it. I wanted it to just thicken up on its own. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and dump in my different cheeses that I have here. I've just got an Italian blend and a pizza blend. If you were watching, I forgot to put my dough into the bowl that I had ready that had some garlic herb butter in it, but it'll be fine. Here's some Parmesan. I'm going to throw it in. And we're going to make up several, so I'm going to go ahead and get that in, and we'll be bringing the pizzas out shortly to start getting them ready. Oh, that feels good. Okay, next tip. Put you a thin layer of cheese on the bottom. And this is going to help keep the crust without getting soggy. Not much, just a little. And now we're going to take our pizza sauce. Thin it out here. Just kind of move it around. I think I would like a little more. And I don't have any mushrooms, so on this pizza I'm doing ham. And I don't like a ton of toppings. I mainly like the crust and the sauce. And I'm going to do bacon and some peppers. Make sure you get up close to the edge there. And then I'm going to top this with some more cheese. Just enough to make it good there. All right. We're gonna pop this back in the oven, and it can take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. top the next one. Now this is the one I'm going to freeze. So, let's spin back on the burner. So just and depending on how much toppings you like my husband and son, they really like the toppings. But if you don't mind just a little bit, then that's stretching your budget even further. There we go. Okay, add a little bit of bacon. And a little bit of peppers. And a little bit of cheese. And what I'm going to do is just let this set and cool, and then I'm going to put it straight in the freezer. I'm going to set it over here out of the way.
So our 30-minute rise pizza crust here looks really good. So in less than 2 hours, you could have this done with a quick rise pizza crust. You know, you could go ahead and have all your toppings ready and just come in from work and do a pizza crust. Might be something that you want to do like on a Friday night instead of like during the week. But this is going to be our thin crust, our meat lovers. So, and we're going to go ahead and put some of our garlic herb butter down here to keep it from sticking. And then the one that I'm going to freeze, I'm going to put a baking sheet down because I think that will help me get it off the pan. And because I'm going to put it in a vacuum bag. I'm going to vacuum seal it. I want to see how that works. I've never done a vacuum seal on it. So, I don't know. We'll just cut this in half here the best. I'm not going to weigh it out to see exactly. And I am going to work this one down a little bit. And I will let this rise for a few minutes. Got to keep working this out here. So you're kind of like stretching and pulling. So this takes just a little bit of patience here if you want a thin crust. I say this will be not exactly a thin crust, it'll be more of like a hand tossed. But it's still going to be a lot thinner than the dough that I put in the big cast iron skillet. This should be a good chewy crust because it's pulling back on me real good here. Stretching really good. rest and relax. Okay, just set it over here on the warm up, and while we're working the other dough, maybe the baking sheet for this one. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing here. Just pull up my baking mat here. And on that garlic and herb butter, you can add as little or as much garlic and those herbs that you would like. Look at that. Very nice dough. The stretch is really good too. Oh, look at the bubbles. That's awesome. That's what you want. And a pizza crust. Okay, gonna let this rest about 5 to 15 minutes. So this pizza is now cool to the touch. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it and put it in the freezer to let it freeze solid. Okay, so this one's been resting, and look, I'm able to go ahead and stretch it some more. It looks great. I'm very happy with the way that looks. All right, so just a thin layer, a little bit of cheese. And we want this to go all the way to the edge because that's how my husband and them like that. I'm gonna show you another trick here. We get the deli sliced pepperoni, and I'm gonna put that on, and then I'm gonna put the sauce, and this is gonna help this crust to not get soggy. When I was growing up, about once a month, we would get together with my grandmother and just different people that would come over to the grandmother's house, some cousins and stuff, and she would make homemade pizzas. And I just remember it as a kid. All right, we're gonna go ahead and put our sauce on. Now, Ben and Henry don't like a lot of sauce, so I'm not going to overdo it here. Okay. And then on this pizza, we're going to go ahead with the ground sausage and the ground beef. Seems to be done, so we're going to open that up and see. Oh yeah, it looks really good. Now, let's see if the crust is good and done. Yes, it is done. It feels like all of it's complete. First thing soggy, so we've got to get it on a cooling rack pretty quick. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and put green onions, peppers, and even though I did raise banana peppers last year, I didn't manage to get any pickled just banana peppers. But Ben and Henry like these, so we're gonna put them on this pizza. Alrighty, we're gonna finish this off with cheese. On this one, we're going to turn the oven up to 425. And that is to ensure that we get it good and toasted. Follow around. And we'll start with 15 minutes. We've got our other pizza here that we're going to freeze. Now this dough has been setting too, and you can tell I'm able to stretch it more. And because we're going to freeze this one, I am going to put it in the oven for about 5 minutes to get that crust to bacon. Okay, so we have our last pizza. Oh, that's wonderful. And this is the one, the thin crust, which is more, like I said, more like a hand tossed. I'm going to use any leftover pizza sauce to serve tonight that anybody wants to dip their pizza in. Okay, so this is what we had left over, and I have a really good idea for another recipe for these 3 ingredients. Make sure you tune in on Wednesdays. That's when I upload my cooking videos from the farmhouse, because I think you'll really like this next recipe. And while we're at it, if you would consider subscribing, it would really help us out. So just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We'll let this cool a little bit longer, and then I'm going to place it in the freezer just like I did the other pizza. And I'm going to scrape all of this garlic and herb butter down. Put it on a warmer. That way it stays melted, so if anybody wants to dip. So now all the recipes from today will be in the description box below. And if you would like to have them on printable cards with all of my instructions and everything on it, make sure to go to Full Circle Farms, KY.com, and sign up for our newsletter, and that's how you'll get access to it. That information is also in the link below. Just like always, we really do appreciate you all watching, and we really appreciate you coming back. Look at this pizza. and the crust. Looks good. And here's the second pizza. All right, let's cut her. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Looks good. I don't like cutting triangle pieces anymore. This is the way I like to cut pizza. Of course, this is a thick round crust. Oh my goodness. Yes. This is exactly the way I like it. That is perfect. The garlic and herb butter, the cheese, the pizza sauce. The chewy texture. Delicious. So I think today was a really good day. We put several items back in the refrigerator for a whole nother recipe. I was able to get 2 more pounds of ground beef cooked in the pan I already had dirtied up for another recipe. And then we've gotten a total of 4 pizzas. And I'm gonna feed a very large family. And this here did not cost me $80. So go ahead and put in the comments what you think this meal cost. And until next time, see you around. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It wasn't very good though.
Well, thanks. I hope this one's better.
Well, the problem with Bigfoot was lack of toppings. You know, they just never did put enough stuff on it, and it didn't come out to the edges of things. They had it like so many pizza places. They have a little pile of toppings right there in the middle, and then 6-inch band of crust around the thing. It's like that.
Yeah. Okay. Whew. That's kind of hard to cut.
About to freeze out in the rest of the house.
Okay, so we have our sausage now. It's frying good. So we're gonna go ahead and add in our 1 pound of ground beef.